Hey, what's good guys? This is Nightwing2303 from WearTesters.com. Today we're here with another first impression. A lot of people have been asking what I think about the upcoming Harden Volume 2 from Adidas. So that's exactly what we're talking about today. But before we get started, you can head over to eastbay.com where we have 5 brand new WearTesters basketball shirts available now. Really awesome materials at an affordable price. Shipping is also available internationally. And then we have our first ever WearTesters hoodie available as well. As far as sizing information on the apparel, I would go true to size on the hoodie. And I personally like my shirts when I play basketball to be a little bit loose. And these shirts are a little bit more on the fitted side, so I go up a size on that. But if you guys are interested, make sure to click the link in the description box below. It'll head you over to eastbay.com where these shirts are being sold exclusively. And with that being said, let's go ahead, get right into it. First things first, this is purely speculation as Adidas has not come forth to completely confirm that this is the Harden Volume 2. However, I do have some unnamed sources who are confirming with me behind the scenes that it is, but as of now, we're just going to take everything with a grain of salt and just kind of pretend that these are going to be the upcoming Volume 2. As most of you guys know, I was a big fan of the Harden Volume 1. I think that they're a fantastic on-court model. The Volume 2, I don't know. I mean, they look weird. However, I say that about a lot of shoes when I first see these really grainy images of them. So when I finally see them in person, I could end up falling in love with them once you see them on feet. Colorways, like I've said many times before, make or break a shoe. So until we actually see these in full context with good shots and on-feet looks, see how they feel and perform, anything can change. But as of right now, they just look a little funny. Now, as far as the tech specs and what I think about them, that traction is super wild, dude. I thought that the Volume 1 had some really weird traction that I was like super skeptical about. It ended up being a really good, outsole for on-court use. They've held up well indoors and outdoors as well. So I am hoping for the same with the Volume 2. Something that I think is interesting is that the Volume 1's traction was very much data-driven. Adidas had stated that they had mapped Harden's pressure points on his foot while he's playing and making his movements, and that's kind of what that original traction pattern revolved around. This secondary traction pattern, I don't know if it's an evolutionized version of that data-driven type of traction pattern. It would make sense if it does, because some of the shapes are very similar to what we did see on the Volume 1, but this one just looks way different. Again, the Volume 1 worked really well. I do think it was largely in part to the rubber compound that they used on the actual shoe itself, and so I'm going to say right now at least that's kind of what I'll be going with the Volume 2. But just by looking at it, I don't really know what to think other than like this is like way past unconventional. It's in borderline like weirdo territory. Now Boost is back, but it's much thicker than it was on the Volume 1. Not only that, but it looks like we're going to be getting some colored variations of Boost on the Harden Volume 2 as well. Something that we did not see on the Volume 1 itself, but we did see on the Volume 1 LS. Some people have been questioning whether or not the Boost is full length. It actually is. It's going to be riding from heel to forefoot. You can actually see it poke through on the medial side. Meanwhile, the lateral side is caged much like it was on the Volume 1. However, this time around, it's only caged in the forefoot. Personally, I think this is a good look. They've done this really well with the D Rose line, and I have a feeling that it's going to perform really well in this line as well. They also did this with the Crazy Light Boost too, so we have 2 different shoes where we can look at that and say, hey, that actually worked. And as far as overall cushion, obviously Boost is one of the best out there right now, so I don't think the impact protection is going to be a big deal. Will it feel bouncy or boosty? Honestly, it doesn't even matter because Boost actually works. So whether you can feel it or not, it's actually doing its job. Now moving on to the upper, I'm not really sold on this either. I really did have a love-hate relationship with what Adidas did with the Volume 1. I thought that the knit and everything wasn't as good as it could have been, especially the Prime Knit versions. The Prime Knit version on the Volume 1 was not as nice as other Prime Knit shoes. However, that toe cap was awesome. Whether it was leather or suede, they were just fantastic. And it really added a really nice visual appeal to the shoe, in my opinion at least, as well as a quality piece of material on the sneaker. Now they've done away with all of that. This model seems to be using complete synthetics. So that rear section that looks very similar to the Dame 3, that's going to be a full-on synthetic. I'm hoping that they actually do some premium touches to that, but I'm pretty sure in order to cut down costs, they're going to keep it synthetic all the way around. But it would be really, really nice if that panel was going to be leather on certain colorways. And then the rest of the shoe, which includes the forefoot area, is going to be what looks like like a textile or a mesh. It could also be a re-engineered knit as well, but then the interior piece where the collar is looks to be a separate piece, mostly a compression piece made out of a neoprene-like material as well as an open-celled mesh. Now the thing that I'm not liking so much about the connection between the two pieces of the upper is right here at the center of the midfoot, and the way that it just looks like this piece is going to cut right into your foot, or at least provide some sort of weird pressure, which I'm not a fan of. I think it would have been better if these two areas were just simply stitched together, but who knows, it could just be me being paranoid. This is just a first impression after all. And then that tongue, not really a fan of that either. I did actually like the tongue on the Harden Volume 1. It was really nice, it was soft, it was padded, molded in a weird way that I thought really worked with the overall design. Meanwhile, this one reminds me of like a Hyperfuse type looking shoe, where it's just that thin, plasticky looking tongue. Not really a big fan of it, but hopefully it's made out of all fabric, so it's not annoying or anything. So that pretty much takes care of it for my first impression on the Harden Volume 2, or at least what we're being told is the Harden Volume 2. Supposedly these are supposed to roll out around All-Star Weekend, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to visit WearTesters.com for updates as well. I do think that the shoe is going to perform really well. I think it's going to be a really nice kind of like light transition from the 1 to the 2 while reducing a lot of the weight that the 1 actually had. The 1 was a little bit heavier than most of their other shoes, and I think that this Volume 2 looks like it's going to reduce the weight quite a bit, which should be nice. Let me know what you think about the shoe, as well as your thoughts on this being the Harden Volume 2. Do you think it is? Do you think it's not? Sound off below in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time guys, have a good one.